Okay, let's jump right into it. Today in this explainer, we're tackling a massive mystery in the modern workplace. Honestly, it's something almost every company struggles with. Why do really good people suddenly just up and leave? I mean, if you've ever worked in an office, managed a team, or just, tried to survive the daily corporate grind, you know keeping top talent is incredibly tough. But what if our whole approach to employee satisfaction is completely backwards? Like, what if a quiet, agreeable employee isn't actually a happy one? We're going to break down the realities of modern talent retention through a story that, well, it might just hit a little too close to home.
You've probably seen posts exactly like this one while scrolling LinkedIn. It's from a fictional manager in our story named Daniel. Talent retention continues to be one of the biggest challenges facing modern organizations. It's your classic, generic thought leadership stuff, right? Daniel is totally scratching his head, treating retention like this impossible, unsolvable puzzle. But here's the thing we'll discover. Daniel isn't some evil corporate mastermind. He's just completely and utterly oblivious to the environment he's built. He's staring out at the horizon of modern organizations when, frankly, he really just needs to look about 3 desks away.
Section 1. The illusion of happiness, when silence is mistaken for satisfaction. So to really understand Daniel's confusion, we got to meet his star employee, Emma. She's 27, she's incredibly smart, and she handles those dreaded last-minute requests flawlessly. She's quiet, observant, and she just gets the job done. And this sets up the massive disconnect at the heart of our story. From Daniel's perspective, he sees Emma kicking on urgent work at 6 p.m. without throwing a fit, and he assumes, great, Emma's happy here. But Emma's reality, it's completely different. She hasn't stopped complaining because she's happy. She stopped because she realized complaining changes absolutely nothing at this company. She's literally just silently tolerating it. Let me ask you, have you ever been in Emma's shoes? Have you ever just completely given up on giving feedback because you knew you were talking to a brick wall? That right there is the illusion of happiness.
Section 2. Ignoring the red flags. The normalization of bad management.
Well, how exactly did things get to this state of silent tolerance? It happens through a really insidious process. The slow normalization of bad management. Check out this timeline of frustration. First, Emma notices that a standard 4 p.m. meeting routinely drags on until 5:40 p.m., and nobody questions it. It's like the conference room clock exists in an alternate dimension. Then, payday rolls around, and her salary is delayed, not by a few hours, but by several days. And there's no explanation from HR, no quick, "we're so sorry" email, just radio silence. Emma is sitting there hitting refresh on her banking app, wondering if her paycheck decided to take a spontaneous work-from-home day. And then comes the ultimate boundary violation. She submits a totally standard leave request, and it just sits there.
3. It sat pending for 3 agonizing weeks. I want you to really imagine the subtle disrespect of that number. You're asking for time off that you have rightfully earned, and for 3 entire weeks, you're met with just absolute indifference. Your personal life, your plans, your time to recharge, none of it matters to the people you are pouring your energy into every single day. That number, that was Emma's breaking point.
Section 3. The exit interview shock. A sudden realization of unhappiness.
And that brings us to the climax of our fable. Emma finally hits her limit, quietly lands another job, and hands in her 2 weeks' notice. And the irony here is just rich. It happens on the exact same day her 3-week-old leave request finally gets approved. Daniel, of course, is completely floored. During the exit interview, he tells her she really should have spoken up and told him she was unhappy. And Emma's response? She says, "I did every time I asked why my leave was still pending." Let that sink in for a second. This is such a crucial moment because it exposes how employees actually communicate their dissatisfaction. It's almost never some dramatic movie-style shouting match in the break room. It's hidden in those subtle, repeated questions. It's in the polite follow-up emails. Emma was practically waving a giant red flag every time she asked about her leave. But because she wasn't screaming, management just completely tuned her out.
So how does Daniel react to this? He immediately gets defensive. He tries to justify the broken culture, saying, "These things happen. They happen to me too. I've worked late for years. I never complained." Classic management trap, right? He is totally weaponizing his own lack of boundaries to invalidate Emma's perfectly reasonable frustration. He's basically saying, "Hey, I suffered through this toxic environment, so it's normal, and you should suffer too." He fully expects her to just nod, agree, and accept that this is just the way the corporate world works. But Emma doesn't agree. Instead, she drops this absolute mic drop of a response. "I never said I was okay with these things. I just stopped saying I wasn't." Boom! I mean, for the very first time in their entire working relationship, Daniel has literally no response.
There is so much profound power in that statement. It perfectly captures the whole phenomenon of quiet quitting or silent disengagement. When an employee stops fighting for better conditions, it absolutely does not mean they've accepted them. It means they have emotionally checked out and they're just biding their time until the right moment to leave.
Section 4. Not about the money. The real reason good employees leave.
Once Daniel finally recovers from the shock, he pivots to the classic, panicked question every single manager falls back on when someone resigns. Wait, is this about the money? Because, it's the easiest excuse. If someone leaves for a bigger paycheck, the manager doesn't have to look in the mirror and take responsibility. And sure, in Emma's case, her new gig did come with a 35% salary bump, which is a fantastic perk, for sure. But Emma makes it crystal clear that the 35% is a total red herring. Yes, the money was nice, but it was absolutely not the main reason she was walking out the door. The real reasons were way more fundamental than that.
Let's actually look at what Emma's new manager promised her. Check out these so-called luxury benefits. Meetings end on time, a standard 5-day work week. Her salary is credited on the first of the month, exactly on time, 0 exceptions. And when she submits a leave request, it actually gets answered. I know, it sounds totally wild, doesn't it? But seriously, think about this list. None of these are perks. None of these are luxury benefits. These are the absolute bare minimum requirements for a functional, respectful workplace. Emma left because another company simply proved to her that basic respect was possible. She realized she didn't have to settle for a place that treated fundamental human boundaries like some kind of exclusive VIP privilege.
Section 5. The real retention problem. Why talent really walks out the door.
And that brings our story full circle. A week after Emma's last day, Daniel is right back on LinkedIn posting about the big, bad challenges of talent retention. The guy learned absolutely nothing. He is still looking outward for magical answers when the real retention problem was staring him right in the face the entire time. I mean, just summarize the absurdity of this. Emma worked there for 8 months. She sat exactly 3 desks apart from Daniel. And somehow, despite breathing the exact same office air, this manager needed an official, scheduled exit interview to discover his absolute best employee had been miserable for months. Corporate communication really is an advanced technology, isn't it? We have Slack, Zoom, endless email threads, but if we aren't actually paying attention to the human beings on the other side of those screens, all that communication is entirely worthless.
So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on today, especially if you manage a team or run a business. Think about your quietest, most reliable people, the ones who never, ever push back. Are your employees actually happy? Or have they just realized that complaining changes absolutely nothing? Please, don't wait for an exit interview to find out the truth. Start paying attention to the silence today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it changes the way you look at your team tomorrow.